Hello everyone, my name is Diego and I'm here with my friend Ash. Today we're going to talk about the intersectionality between disability and multiple identity.
My name is Ash, I'm 23, I'm a trans femme genderqueer person. I'm a trauma survivor and mentally ill and have multiple invisible disabilities.
I guess most people do know what trans is, but do you want to explain?
Yes, so hopefully people know trans within the binary, so trans woman or trans man. Well, there's lots of people who are non-binary like myself. I say trans femme because my experience, I'm a trans feminine person, right? Assigned male at birth, but then also trans. Even if I'm not a trans woman, I still face a lot of the same oppression as trans women because I'm read as a trans woman.
How has your multiple identities, how have they interacted or intersected in some ways?
Recently, I was in a mental hospital because I had attempted suicide because mental illness is real, especially for people who are trans feminine. It's very high. I was treated really poorly because of being neurodivergent as well as being trans. So on top of already having a bad mental health system, all of these effects, they were just simply unable to account for. They were like, what's a trans person?
Disability is not necessarily something that has to be cured or fixed.
Most of my disabilities that I face, I really wish I could cure them. So epilepsy objectively makes my life more difficult. I think it's important to know that the social model of disability is crucial, right? Society is designed to exclude disabled people, and the medical model does not account for a lot of that. But at the same time, we have to be able to hold multiple truths and know that there are medical things that can occur. And we can't just say the social model is all of it.
So the social model of disability, for those of you who don't know, is a concept that says that people with disabilities are primarily disabled not because of their own person, but because of barriers around the environment. How would you say the social model of disability relates to you?
One of the things that I think is important about the social model of disability for me is understanding the education system. The fact that the university system made it so difficult for me to be able to complete my degree and maintain a scholarship and maintain enrollment. And they were like, disability leave is not really a thing.
Is there any time where you think your disability and your identity as a trans person intertwine?
All the time.
In what ways do you see it reflected?
Yeah, if I'm going to go out on a date with someone, and it's I'm going to go out, we're going to have dinner or something, I have to literally sit down and I have to be all right, I need 15 minutes of your time. Here is a little sheet that I have written up. I'm like, hey, look, I have PTSD. If I get triggered, I might have to do any number of things. Expressing my accessibility needs in all of those formats. Because accessibility, I think, expands. It's slightly beyond just disability, which is what's so crucial about it. I think there's a few rules that I would say apply. And the first one is, if somebody's expressing their accessibility needs, is honor that. There is a social barrier of someone being able to say, this is my needs, let me assert that.
Yeah, I think there's a coming out process even for that.
Yeah, precisely. Second off is don't overreact. Give me some autonomy. Recognize that I will express my need. I think there's also a rule that I would say is don't ask more than you think is invasive. Be hey, you don't have to answer this, but what things might be triggers for you. There's a beautiful article on this talking about when someone gets your accessibility needs, or when somebody's flirting, that's a type of intimacy. So for disabled people, being able to express what your needs are, right, and say hey, look, if I'm doing this, this is a good thing, or whatever, and just being very comfortable and forward.
For making people more comfortable about expressing their needs in terms of accessibility, what would you suggest?
Disabled people, and within the disability community, I think working on and promoting information and education so that people can better know what their needs are, because I think a lot of times people don't even know what their needs are. Teaching people how to self-advocate what their accessibility needs are, I think, is crucial. Able-bodied people, being people who benefit from this system, express and say, hey, look, this is my need, and then they can, set a standard and a culture so that it's much more acceptable for someone who has, more needs or more accessibility needs to come in, rather than just disabled people constantly having to advocate for ourselves. As I said before, it's so difficult. Society tells us not to. Society silences us. Society shames us.
Okay, so what should the hashtag for this week be?
Accessibility intimacy. I really think everyone
Oh,
should
that's
read this article by me and Mingus. It like makes my heart flutter.
Okay, so hashtag accessibility intimacy, right?
Intimacy, yes.
Absolutely.
Subscribe to Together International.
Okay, bye.